Do you like submitting custom proposals? Nobody does. Hey, it's Alzay Calhoun with Coveted Consultant, and let's be honest, do you really enjoy submitting custom proposals? Nobody does. The custom proposal process is truly a broken process. Today I want to talk about why it's broken and what you should be doing instead. First, let's cover how the process typically works. So, typically, the prospective client reaches out in some way. You may get a request via email, you may get it from an RFP process or request for proposal process, but there's some sort of connection that happens here. Then you have a conversation with the prospective client, right? So you have this back and forth, but really it's the prospective client trying to articulate what they think they want in services. They're not really sure because it's not their expertise. But you try, you go back and forth. So they're guessing at what they think they want, and then you try to talk back about what you think you could do for them, and you kind of do that thing, right? All right. So then your job is to make the conversation concrete by submitting a proposal. So now you and your team got to go back and now you got to submit this thing. So it could take you 6 hours, it could take you 6 days, it could take 6 weeks, it could take 6 months to create this beautiful, well laid out proposal document, which really is your best guess at what the client or prospective client thinks they want in services. So you create your best guess, you send that off. Then, and you hope and pray, right, that they say yes. But normally a stop sign shows up because when they finally see that document and they look at it and they go, this is kind of what we want. We're thinking something more like this. Could you make a revision? And so you go, okay, but really what they've done is they've changed their requesting it, right? So then this entire loop happens again. They change the request. You got to get clear on what they think they want. You submit another document. And they go, could you make another change for us? We're still considering the following, the loop begins again, and this loop goes around and around and around, and all it does is waste everybody's time. But wait, now let's talk about the real pains that show up in your business because of this process. So in your business, you're experiencing these incredibly long sales cycles. A conversation that should have been over 1 or 2 days ends up being 1 or 2 weeks, 1 or 2 months, or 1 or 2 years by the time you finally get a decision to be made. You experience these incredibly long scope creeps. So a project that you thought was going to be 4 elements or 5 elements ends up being 17 elements, ends up being 67 elements because the client or prospective client was talking their way into clarity. So they keep talking during the project, making the project bigger and bigger and bigger, which takes the project timeline and extends it. So you should have been done in 2 weeks. You should have been done in 6 weeks, but instead you're done in 4 months. You're done in 9 months because the scope creep got way out of control. And all of that puts pressure on your profit margins. Where you thought you were going to make this much in the project, now you're making this much in the project because the inefficiency took all your profits away. Now let's go even deeper. Why is this process so inefficient? Because on its face, it sounds exactly right. You listen to the prospective client, they tell you what they want, you do the work for them, and life continues, right? Like that should work. But something about it doesn't work for any of us. Why is that? Reason number 1. The wrong person is controlling this conversation. In a typical custom proposal process, it's the prospective client, the person that knows the least. They're the person with the most responsibility in making all of these things happen. That's backwards. If the prospective client knew what to do, they would be doing it already. The reason why they go through all these steps is because they're looking for expertise. The expert, you, should be driving this process, not the prospective client. Reason number 2, you agree with this process. You are willing to play along. You opt into it. And so you allow your company to go around this time clock, around and around and around, and waste your time. When you agree to the custom proposal process, you are agreeing to be inefficient. Reason number 3, this process pushes you out of your excellence. At some point in this inefficient process, you agree to something that you shouldn't, something that's out of bounds, it's out of scope, your company doesn't do it very well, but you just say yes because you want to, because either you're a nice guy, a nice gal, because you want to just close the business, because you want to move on to something else, because you just get tired of going through this. But when you say yes to things that you shouldn't, it opens up these pain points later in your business. When you've productized, it gives you the chance to say the following. Hey, prospective client, it was good talking to you today. I've listened to your problem and I understand where you're coming from. I got what's going on. I know what the problem is. Good news is we can fix that for you. In fact, we got it all spelled out. We know exactly how long it should take. We know what the important elements are to complete it. And this is what we charge to relieve that problem. Is that something you want to go ahead and get started with today? That was good, wasn't it? But there's no way you can have that kind of conversation if you don't have a productized service. What you'll find is that you just need one premium, prepackaged productized service to take your business to the next level. Or you can keep doing custom proposals. Talk to you soon.